All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, December 29th, 2023. If you've not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Last trading day of the year. We will be running that promotion for Active Trader, which is our live day trading room. First month, we'll be doing basically 60% off for you guys to try it for the whole month of January. So if you're interested in that sale will go live on January 1st and run through the 31st. Outside of that, last day of the trading year here, and markets today, a little bit of a flush, right? So we started off, we were in a 6-point range on the SPX, and I said to members in the room, I was like, this is like, I said, if something doesn't happen soon, like I'm probably just going to call it an early day here. And, about 10 minutes later, we got a pretty good dump. And markets took a pretty good hit. We slid about 30 points or so on the SPX. NASDAQ took a pretty good shot there. Triple Qs took the worst of it. I got stopped out trying to scalp this. Was a little too early. Would have, if we held, it would have came back here. But, that's the break sometimes. But right now, I would not make anything out of this. This is end of year repositioning, rebalancing, housekeeping. If you take a look here at the markets, what was selling off today? SMH, NVIDIA, Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, all Mag 7 stocks, right? There was some selling in some other names. We'll get rid of these lines here. XLF did take a little bit of a hit, right? XL, a little bit of a dip. XLV, right? But XLE, some of these other names that weren't, rallying a ton for the whole year were not really affected by the sell-off. We did see some selling, but it was mostly Mag 7. Additionally, if we take a look, let's just look at the ZN 10-year note. It was rallying the entire time we were selling off. We'd have a sell at 1 o'clock for the auction. That's it. There's, if you want to look at the yields, makes it easier for you. Look at yields were coming down. Dollar index was coming down, right? We got a little pop, and that was it. And it actually started to fade. So this wasn't macro related. It wasn't like anything fundamental. To me, it was just all purely mechanical and completely due to end of year repositioning and rebalancing. And you're seeing the markets come right back off the lows. It tells you that that is probably the case. Right now, the thesis has not really changed. We're still looking for, we might get some back end filling, right? We look at the RSI, getting a little divergent, right? It's a little tired. So we shouldn't be surprised that we're even seeing this to begin with. But if we get a little bit back end filling, a little consolidation, this should spike the all-time high in January. There's nothing really saying it can't or shouldn't. And again, the closer you get to these levels, the more of a magnet it is. The market just needs to go test that. I think it went out of the window that we were going to test the all-time highs really right here. As soon as we got above 46.37, that was kind of it, right? That was the last big line of in the sand. And markets have obviously traded up since then. So again, that's what we're going to look for. I talked about this in the pre-market with members. A break of 47.70 would be kind of indicative that the market needs to do backing and filling, and I think that's probably the case. We could see a little bit more consolidation. Maybe we see some more tax harvesting. A lot of at the end of the year, some of the gains harvesting gets done the first week of January because people don't want to pay a massive tax bill this year. They want to defer it. So we could see some selling maybe next week, a little bit of pressure. That said, Monday, they'll probably spike this up because you're going to get pension funds and 401ks coming in, and they're going to have a lot of money to spend on this market, and they're going to chase it higher. So we'll see what happens the first week. But bottom line, I'm still expecting that all-time high to get hit before any sort of real corrective move in this market. Again, doesn't mean we can't get backing and filling, but if this 20 moving average catches up to price, it's likely going to act as fuel. So that's kind of my thesis right now. Triple Qs are no different, but we'll see. One thing that I've was talking about in the weekend video, which will be out tomorrow. By the way, check out, if you guys want to check out the podcast, we talked about this quite a bit, me and my friend Jason Burek. Most of you guys know me from him. We had a little podcast yesterday. We talked extensively about rates. did kind of our year-end review and predictions for next year. Really good stuff. But one of the things I talked about in the video that will be released tomorrow is watch the cues, because again, in July, we topped out, on the 19th, and then we made a lower high. And additionally, if we go back to 2020, we topped out in November and in a lower high, versus the spiders, which didn't top out until Jan 2022. And this year, there was your high in the NASDAQ, and the S&P made a higher high. What if the Qs make a lower high here and the SPX makes a higher high? Could be telling us that we're getting close to a correction, right? Just something to keep on watch there. Again, doesn't mean it has to happen, but that could be a little indicator for us that the market's getting ready to make a bigger corrective move. But right now, no problems here with the Qs. Trend is up. You're having a little dip today, and the dip's getting bought right now, so we'll leave it at that. Russell 2000 came back off of our 205 area. I still think that wants to get to 210. Again, so if this consolidates here and the 20 moving average catches up, I think that will likely happen sometime in January. The diamond here, I'm just going to give that the upside bias to 380. That's really the best I can give you right now. It's price cap weighted, but just be aware this is parabolic and this is unsustainable. And eventually we will have a pretty good correction. But I think there's a little bit more to go in this market. Semiconductors here, again, backing off down 53 cents. Again, we talked about NVIDIA, but that V-shaped and is actually green right now. Pretty remarkable recovery there. I still think the stocks want to go to that 4,300 handle. Again, that's not a short, just an upside objective. Doesn't mean it couldn't be a short, but I'm not planning on it right now, unless the market tells me otherwise. IGV pulling back a little bit here, so a little bit of an outside candle there. Took out basically the last 4 days of trading with 1 day, but again, we talked about that 410 handle. It got up there, and it's pulling back off this weekly zone. I don't know how much more upside the IGV can have here, but it's defied gravity recently, and it's been strong really all year. So IGV has held up well. Dow Transports, again, pretty good dip, but came off the lows just like everything else. This pattern here is fine. There's no problems here with the transports. They're above the moving averages. Trend is back up. This can probably get to 16.4. I know I said 16.250, 16.3, but I'd probably upgrade that now just because we've consolidated. And then if you get through that, it's 16.6 and then basically 17,000. So transports here, no problems. And, that's just doing, back in filling, just doing consolidations. I have no issues with that. Interest rates here did catch a bid. Okay, so there's our 2 year. So the 2 year, the long end caught a bid. The 2 year did back off. It was up earlier, but it backed off today. Again, I wouldn't rule out a little bit more of a drop, but I don't see much more downside here in either end of the curve here. There's the 10s, there's the level for the 10s, and then there's the 30s. I think we'll get there. It's just a matter of time. But again, we talked a lot about rates in the podcast yesterday. It's live there, so you can hear my thesis on that. If you guys don't already know, it's I make it pretty obvious, but that's where I'm expecting rates to go, and I think we'll have a counter trend move. XHB here down 24 cents. So again, this can still go higher. There's nothing really wrong with it. What can you say? It's at all-time highs right now. Again, it's kind of like a situation where it can have its cake and eat it too, because if rates go down, that's bullish home builders. If rates go up, people don't sell their 2% mortgage, their home with 2% mortgage. So home builders kind of have a double-edged sword here. Doesn't mean they can't correct or won't correct at some point. They are borderline parabolic here. So just be aware of that. But, the trend is strong and I'm not fighting it. So VNQ, outside move yesterday, inside move today, no problems there. I think that just needs to do weekly consolidation. XLF still can get to 38 and a quarter. KRE still go to 56. KBE 48 and a quarter. Broker dealers overbought extended, but can go higher as well. Crude continued to the downside today, so that's 1, 2, 3 days in a row. I'm not so sure what this wants to do. So we had that nice bullish structure here, and that kind of failed. I am expecting some type of low to be due here in crude soon. I just don't know if it's going to be a spike of this low or if it's going to be a higher low, but I am getting kind of interested in crude again. And we'll see how that shakes out into January, but it did back off today, and I'm just leaving it alone until it gives me More of a signal. Same thing with XLE. I don't like either of these right now. The only one I like more is the OIH, and I like that on the monthly. But if they do go lower, you get OIH to 280, XLE to the upper 70s, I would start to get interested in both of those for sure. CCJ pulling back this week, but nothing terrible there. The trend is still up on the weekly. URNM trend is still up on the weekly. I like this much better than CCJ. Bullish inside bar there. Nice pullback pattern, 20 moving average catching up to price. CCJ on the monthly, going to have its first red month since April. So just be aware of that. Sometimes when you get the first red, it turns into more when you go parabolic. So just be aware of that. A lot of people chasing this into the end of the year. We'll see if that buying pressure abates into January. Nat gas just backing off today, but again, still in this consolidation range. So we had that big low, and now we're just going sideways here. So again, I still think this is set up for a move to 280, possibly 3 to 310. So nat gas still trying to set up a base there. Dollar index is, so it got down to that 150, close to that 150 level. We got down to basically this tail candle low, and we're bouncing. I don't know what this wants to do. I would prefer it if we spiked to that level. We didn't. So similarly to here, I wanted us to go down like that, right? Instead of going sideways, I would have had a much better read. I would have said, yeah, this probably is going to be a bid. But you consolidated, so I don't like it, right? I don't like that you got close to this level and you didn't get there, and now you're kind of bouncing, but you're not really following through all that much. I don't know what it wants to do here. So I'm going to say the level right now is double bottom. That doesn't mean we can't bounce up to 102. I think that's definitely a possibility. It might even happen early next week, but I'm just avoiding the dollar. I just don't love what I'm seeing with it. It's just it's been too hard to read here over the last couple of months. But I do think it does get a counter trend bounce into quarter one at some point. A pretty good one. Gold here backing off of the highs. So again, we talked about the 2100 and a little bit of a pullback there. The best thing that's going on for gold right now is you have a lower high on gold and higher highs on GDX, GDXJ, GoAU, silver, lower highs, SIL, SILJ, higher highs. That's important. That's going to be a big deal next year. I think that gold, I know everybody's looking for the breakout. Maybe it does. I'm looking for it. I think we're going to get one more buying opportunity on it. Again, that kind of goes with my yields thesis. But right now, it's holding up fine, and I don't see any problems. Silver backing off a little bit. Got caught right in that necktie. 250 MA, nice little bounce. I think I talked about that yesterday. Little bid there off of that low. But again, metals just doing backing and filling. The metals I really like right now, as you guys know, are platinum, although it does need to pull back. Watch that contract gap and watch, we'll say 950. And then obviously palladium, that's my big star. This does need to pull back as well, which it's doing, but I think the lows are in on this, and I think you buy this. Copper here pulling back as well. I'll still give that the upside bias to 403, 405. And that's it. Bitcoin here still acting well. No problems. Everybody's worried about, it's down the last couple of days. All right, well, look at the weekly. So is that a bullish pattern or bearish, right? It's obviously bullish, in case you were wondering. No problems, right? ETH, no problems. Bullish inside bar. Doge, bullish inside bar. Polkadot, climbing the ladder. Litecoin, a little bit on the weaker side. XRP, bullish inside bar. That's getting ready to go. Solana already took off, exceeded all the targets I gave you guys. Hopefully you guys made some money on that. Cardano, beautiful pattern. So you look at your weekly, zoom out a little bit, and tells you a lot more. Cardano is probably my favorite right now. Probably to about 80, maybe to $1, because that one hasn't run yet, and that pattern is coiling up. So crypto looks fine. I don't see any issues here, but it's going to hold up until the ETF news. Speaking of crypto, though, we'll look at these. Mara, look at that sell. So definitely some stuff going on here. With the miners, I can speculate, but it doesn't really matter. We had an outside move on volume. This should, if this gets down to $20 tomorrow, or I should say Tuesday, if you're super aggressive, that could be a bounce play. But I have to see how that gets in there. But just be careful with the miners here. Pretty good weekly candle, reversal candle there with volume. Coinbase as well. We talked about Coinbase the last couple of days. little bit of a candle there. Not quite a topping tail, but it's a good, good outside move here on the daily. So maybe starting to see some distribution, some profit taking finally come in and say, hey, this thing's up, from $30 to 170, and in the last 2 months, it's up from 70 to 170. So we're starting to see some profit taking come in here, MSTR as well, and Riot pulling back. Pretty good outside move on Riot. That one is weaker. If I had to pick one to buy here on the dip, it would be Mara or Coin. But just in case, I wanted to talk about these because they did have some pretty good outside moves. The coins themselves look fine, though. Anyways, let's wrap it up here for the year. Looking forward to a great 2024 with everyone. Spiders here, they're going to chop around between 47.70 and 47.75 into the end of the day. It's already almost 4 o'clock now. That's what we're expecting here. But again, we'll get some backing and filling in January, and then I think we will get a January effect, hit that all-time high, and then we'll reevaluate the market from there. Anyways, guys, it's been a great year with y'all. You guys take care. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys all next year.